Not necessarily true, but we'll take it. Those exhibits look special. Artifacts of the Angular civilization sometimes include non-human statues that also have wings attached. Thought to mean that the ancients tended to consider the wings themselves to have godlike character. Wings originally symbolizing those in power came to acquire godlike status. Wings themselves became worshipped. Humanoid statues with wings attached are typical of those that are called Icarian statues. This is thought to be a motif of the kings who had nearly a godlike presence to the ancient people. Many such giant statues have been excavated from the ruins. The stone statues are thought to have been meant to protect the kings buried there after their death. However, in almost every case, there is no evidence that these kings were actually buried in the ruins. The stone replica was created using ancient writings in the ruins. The prevailing theory holds that the spirit stones represent power, but another theory holds that the ancients exchanged other beautiful minerals as money amongst themselves, giving rise to a monetary economy. Which does have its advantage. And now, well, people might be like, okay, trading goods for goods is good, but that is very limited in its applicability. Range alone limits this. Yeah, to put it mildly, you can only carry so much in the way of goods with you. And the more you carry, the more easier you are for targets for people to rob you your stuff. Now that probably becomes even more obvious when you then take later on the first trials of actually minerals like gold and silver. Gold and silver as a currency is actually not a bad idea, because it means that you have a, well, easily quantifiable means of payment for goods and services. But of course, transporting large amounts of gold and silver from point A to point B is not without risk, to put it mildly. Because anyone with half a brain can be like, okay, if I steal that shit, I'm going to be fucking rich. That has an advantage. Now that actually is then the start of when we actually used paper in order to solve part of that problem. Basically, you write a little note declaiming that, well, this and this is worth this and this much. And instead of actually transporting the goods themselves, you just deliver the paper. Which, you know, can then be used in place of the actual minerals. Quite smart, actually, of a system. It also removes the troublesome situation of actually having to transport your stuff all over the place. Because, well, dangerous. Then, very much later on, that it gets advanced even more to the point where we actually have paper money. That's where we should have actually ended it, because, well, now that everybody has a bank account and everything's running through a bank system, it does become very much easily to see where money comes from and where money goes to. And that is not really the sort of information the bank, and even less the state, should make note of. At least not in a relatively free society, mind you. Because as far as I'm concerned, the state can go suck my, well, dangly bits for all it's worth, because they have no need to know what I do with my income, technically speaking. Well, the state of course would disagree, like, well, for once, if you don't have anything to hide, why not just let me look? And secondly, they would be like, but how am I supposed to know that you're actually paying the right amount of taxation? Well, state, you just have to believe me. For a moment. Hello, Mr. Critter. Came in just the right time. Look, Justin. It's a new Icarian statue. Just finished its restoration. Wow, it's a statue of an Icarian. Never seen this type. Yes, when I checked with Garlyle, it seems that it was found at the Dome ruins on the new continent Valencia. Oh, the Dome ruins, eh? The biggest ruins on the new continent of Valencia. Back to go. Veggiewood. Veggiewood. Yes, it's what you look for that makes you a man, Justin. According to the Anglo myths told in Palm, Icarians used the power of the spirit stones to create a dream world. Stories are told of floating cities and ships that travel to the stars. Steam engines that run forever. Spirit sanctuary frozen in time. Great immortal priests who never age. Are you finished yet? Sorry, so you will through in a minute. Okay, just a minute. Floor, I am a very understanding woman, right? Going by your size, I would say girl, but well, let's not comment on that all too much. Yet, if you consider these utopian fantasies apart from Miss These Icarians must have been thought of as kings who possessed great power. Archaeologically, that much is certain. Archaeologically, these kings must have created their spirits and spirit stones in order to justify their presence. No. Not very interesting. Archaeology has no romance. Sorry about that. I like dreamy stories myself. Justin, I guess you get bored when ancient myths become research. That's right. Can't quite get in the mood today. I might all have been true, right? That's right, Justin. Cannot prove that it is not all true. Which makes you actually a good historian in my books, because the first thing you should admit as a historian is, well, first and foremost, that you just don't know with 100%. That's really hard to get that. You can guess, you can say this points in that direction, and you can be like, okay, we have some sources that say so, but that's still not 100% proof. I mean, you can look at an aqueduct and go like, okay, I can imagine that they used it, but maybe, you know, some asshole back then was like, let's transport our sewer water like that. Who knows? I can make that claim, and, well, going by the good old idea of a devil's proof, you can really not prove that it's not that way. Because it is impossible to deny something without completely checking. You can't check because, well, you can't go back in time and actually talk to the people back then. Which makes it a devil proof. Devil's proof is actually a tool that is, to some degree, still used in lawmaking. Interestingly enough. There's also the, what was it? There's another rather well-known ones. The Devil's Proof and I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue. I think it was Hempel's Raven or something. Also an older technique. I don't think that one is actually applicable any longer, but what was it actually about? It was about the how to equate something in a contra positive, I think. Quite interesting, actually. If you're interested, look it up. That's probably easier than me sitting here for half an hour and trying to get a brain to get it together again. Oh no, I almost forgot. It's about the so-called spirit stone left by your dad. Oh, you examined it for me, but it was real. I can't tell if it's real or fake. Begin with, the spirit stones only exist in myths. Try to do a chemical analysis. The stone. Now I'm here for now. Welcome most officially, little Kronos. Yes, well, you haven't really missed much. That was most brutally violating your poor ear. You're probably pretty much up to date for the moment. If you have any questions, I've missed anything, do let me know. I'll try to give you the rundown. I couldn't. It is harder than diamond, so I gave up. Stone harder than diamond. That's actually interesting. Because diamond is pretty damn fucking tough. Harder than diamond, really. I do have questions. Well, feel free to ask. I shall answer as best as I can. Until I think of another way to analyze it, I'll give it back. Give. Have you put thought what race you may pick, or class? I have at least taken a, well, rather cursory look at the little book you sent me. Haven't yet read all of it. Mostly because I really couldn't concentrate and well, you know, when I actually have to reread pages over and over again and it still doesn't click, that's really not good. What I will do is, because tomorrow I actually have a bit of a train ride in front of me. Actually two, because one there and one back, which is going to take roughly 1.5 hours each. I actually have some time to read it in more detail. And that's when I'm gonna make a bit more of an educated guess. So far, the races are pretty much what I know from most classical scenarios, and I'm, well, going off experience, usually you can't go wrong with anything human. Maybe a half-elf if you wanna take a more interspecies diplomatic route. That really only makes sense when you combine it with a certain classes that go well with it, like the Bard class, for example. Could actually imagine playing something like that. You know, following my idea of being the more, how to put it mildly, diplomatic approach to problem solving. And again, you know, Rook could also be interesting. Being all sneaky about it. So there are some things going through my head, but I would really like to read at least all the different class and race texts and see what comes out. Because, you know, making premature decisions was quite good at diplomacy. Yeah, it's kind of what I figured, because I read that text like 3 times. I was like, okay, I get the idea. Because, Jesus. My brain doesn't really work that well when it's that fucking hot. Like, yeah, I get it, but I kind of wanted to read it a bit more in depth. Also see what sort of abilities, what sort of a progression road they have and stuff before I want to even really get the picture in my head. For the moment I just have some very basic and very confused little fragments floating around that doesn't really make sense, and to make them click into something, that's going to be the first step. But yeah, as tomorrow I actually will be in a nice and, you know, climated train for a whole of 3 hours. I will have all the time. Actually, because I remember that I will be doing that tomorrow, went ahead and printed that thing, at least the classes, and put it all nice together so I have something to read. But that should work well. And then I will probably have some questions that I will then throw most definitively in your direction and go like, okay, explain to me. Because that's most definitely what's going to happen. It's a good moment to take a break and get myself something to drink. Better. But Jesus. It took over a freaking hour after the sun went down to get the temperature below 30 degrees Celsius. And at the top I had like 35 degrees in Celsius. That's cooking. Well, mostly because, as you see, the way my apartment is built, very nicely, I have a huge front of windows, where basically, from dusk till dawn, as long as the sun is out, it will be on that bloody fucking window front, and it really heats up the room. This room fucking, it holds the heat. No one's business. Means I will have to get used to this again. Or buy myself the new fan. Once money comes in again. Which will be in roughly 10 days. But then again, I kinda had that money already planned for something else. I actually wanted to buy a book. But damn it. I hate you, Summer. Why are you doing this to me? If you like, why don't you try analyzing it, Justin? I'll give you some hints. When you're finished looking at the statue, come to my office. I have something for you. Okay. Prioritize hope for me. Get a ceiling fan. I would kinda consider it. But then again, my ceiling is really not that high. It could actually become a problem. I really have to think about it. Normally just one fan is more than enough, but as I said, the problem is once the air is just heated, you really don't get the air moving in the way you want to. Works quite well when you actually get both of my fans running, blowing a bit in tandem. If I get another one, maybe in the other room, I could maybe get it done. I can at least get some airflow again if I open the front door. Maybe. I'll have to think about this a bit. Mysteries of the ancient civilization. Dressed in the adventures of... Might be an option, yeah. Normally it's just a bit of getting used to, honestly. Not that particular to eat normally, it just takes me a while to get used to it being that hot again. And after that it's just like meh, used to it now. Although that amount of time has actually increased the older I got. In the past it's like meh, no problem. Then it was like okay, it takes me 1 or 2 days to get used to it and to work at full capacity again. Nowadays it's more like 4 or 5 days. Also, the main thing is, when the temperature actually starts jumping all over the place, you know, when it's a difference of like 10-15 degrees, in mind you Celsius, from one day to the next day, I get a headache like no one's business. Legendary Carian statue, discovered at the Dom ruins. Can picture that. Yes, and I must you knew that the Dome ruins are the largest ruins on the new continent in Elencia. As I know, an adventurer needs to know lots of things. But you know, it's no fun just listening to other people's adventure stories. Elencia is awaiting me with mountains of exciting things. Just look. Someday I'll find the Angelo that no one else has been able to discover. Oops. What are you doing? No, just calm down. The only thing to do is fix it. Come on, help me. Oh wait, it won't work. We should just be honest and apologize. Can't do it. So happy the curator looked when he restored the statue. Can't tell him. I remember what it looked like. You have a fucking terrible memory, my friend. For real talk, if you put a small bucket of ice behind the fan, it will cool the air a little faster. And that it does. I do remember that I had to use that one summer when it was really getting hot. As I said, normally, honestly... Yeah, shut up, phone. I'd like you to remind me, but not now. I probably have to buy some and do it. But then again, that would mean that I need to constantly get, well, more. Which means I have a constant drain on my resources that are not that much anyway. Yeah, I have to think about it for a bit. I will probably still, you know, get things done, and I will get used to the heat again. A good tip: if it's hottest when you come home, keep a shirt in the freezer to change into when you come home. That is something I actually do. Because, yeah. Mainly because when I'm, you know, gone the whole day, and of course the apartment is closed. Because it's closed and I come home, I get a fucking heat wave coming out of the door. When I open it, it's like, nice. And cooking. Hot. Ugh. So I do have a nice little shirt. Like it can change into just to, you know, get through the worst of it. You sure that's right? I think it looked a little different. Yeah, me too, me too. Anyway, it's about 70%. No, that's not even 70% just, and that's a miserable fail. Test, that's a passing grade. No, that's not even a passing grade, my friend. That's a fail right then and there. It's not the point, Justin. Justin, there's still something wrong. Don't worry. Know a little about the Anglo civilization. Yes, I will take your word for it. Well then. Oh, here it is. I was keeping it in my pocket, so I would always be ready to give it to you and see your smiling face. Mr. Greta, are you getting senile in your old age? And you're never at a loss for words. Anyway, I just heard a loud crash. Did something happen? No. Do we do so? I think we should tell him the truth. Maybe you figure it out. I don't know what to do. Come on, say something. He'll know something's wrong. I guess let's be honest about it. Actually, I broke the statue. Justin, you're a joker. Broke the statue. I just finished repairing. My poor heart couldn't take it. Putting aside the jokes, I tried to be honest with you. I have something good for you. Cool. What is it? Present to you is this. Letter of introduction acquired. The other forces are searching the Salt ruins again. Arranged for 2 people to visit. No, really. Thank you, Mr. Curator. That's great, Justin. You kept saying that you wanted to go to the Salt ruins. I'm just happy to see your faces. First letter of introduction, and the army will let you visit. Justin, you will find out for yourself if the spirit stone is real or not. Okay. Just a good thing for young ones to take an interest in learning. Salt ruins are to the northwest of Park. Use the letter I gave you to get in. Go on, hurry off. Am I sure? Sounds like an adventure. Adventure waits. You made it. I think you got away clean. No way in fucking hell. Ah, the carrot statue. We're just fixing it. Yes, and deep stuff now. What do we do now? I think we should go back and apologize straight out. Maybe the creator will forgive. Who was it? Who did this? I have to do work day and night to fix it all over again. Oh, no way. Go back now, he'll take back the letter of the Dux for sure. Ah, you're right. I feel bad about the creator, but let's come back and apologize later. Yeah, sometimes avoiding the punishment for the moment is the right choice. Not really. I would probably just force them to go back and be like, no, I apologize.